I'm gonna call to order the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting for Wednesday, May 11th, 2022 at 6:30 here. Roll call, please.
Susan Alshire. Brian Maynard.
Here.
Lynn Burns.
Here.
Dale Hughes.
Here.
John Bagley. Phil Hoffman.
Here.
Landon Magley. David Wilkins. Chris Cox.
Here. All right, if I can get everybody to join me in the pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. That moves to item 4 on the agenda, review and approval of prior meeting minutes. Minutes. We have attachments. Planning and Zoning Commission meeting.
The minutes from May that were in your packet were incomplete, so you have a paper copy of the actual minutes from that time.
Yeah.
Those were never approved. We went back through the packet and found that those had not been approved, so we added them to this
And
agenda. And the ones from, we had
October as well?
October,
So
so.
October's the same, okay. From October 13th, 2021 and May 18th, 2021.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes for May 2021 and October 2021.
I'll second
I have a first and a second by Dale Hughes. All in favor?
that.
All opposed? So, minutes are passed. Moves us to the action agenda. Requesting for rezoning by Bonnie Hines for 435 South Jefferson Street. The attachments to the rezoning request. Bonnie Hines, 435 South Jefferson. Legal description, Mr. Trey is on the map. I guess that really would probably just move us to the, if there's not any questions at this point, and move us on to,
We can open the public hearing.
to the public hearing. So at this point, we'd have a public hearing, we hear from anyone in the crowd that would want to step up, state your name, address, and make your comments about the property or whatever, relative to this property.
Up here.
Yep.
My name's Joe Haynes. I'm wanting to purchase the property, and I'm wanting to put a duplex, one level duplex on the property. So I was the one that talked to the realtor and her about getting it rezoned to R2, so we can do that. Currently it's R1.
Let me ask a question or two. When this gets in front of the board of Alderman, I'll make a public comment and put it on the record. The realtor that's involved in this is my wife, okay? So I will be recusing myself from the vote next week in the
Okay.
meeting. I won't be involved in that, but I will run the meeting tonight because of default. But the question I would ask that probably needs to be said is, what are your intentions of how it's gonna be finished in the, because along there are others that have been finished very nicely, brick and stuff on it. What are your intentions, are you envisioning for this to look like?
So, obviously I haven't got my house plan because I want to get the lot before I did that, but I printed off a few things on the internet, or I printed off a plan on the internet that I really like, that if I get it, that's what I plan on building. I don't know if you want me to give you those so you can kind of see what I'm looking at. I mean, that's,
Yeah, I would think we should. I mean,
give you an idea of what I have in mind.
what you're thinking about, what a product's gonna look like, so.
Yes.
I'm curious, but it's not relevant.
No, I know, I just thought we'd ask the question, I didn't have to put up, it's,
I got 2 copies. Floor plan in front. Now, obviously, that's just a print off the internet, but it's,
It's not a formal plan for you, right? I was just thinking about aesthetics and things along there, what
Right.
it says today, where it ends, that kind of thing is all,
Right.
I'm reason I asked the question, right?
and being it's on Jefferson, I mean, obviously, I wanna make it look really nice, and, I'm gonna go with the LP siding, I'm not gonna do vinyl siding, I would put the nicer siding, I'd like to, you know, make it look really nice.
That's a second copy.
Again, just for curiosity, what square footage did you
So, I would like to do a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, and I would like to be somewhere between 12 and 1,300 square feet per side. And I like the one level because I think it's good for, you know, any age group can be in the one level. You know, obviously if you do a upstairs, downstairs, I think it eliminates some people. So I think the lot's plenty wide enough to do something like this, and I just think it's more appealing to more people, and I'd like the 3-bedroom, 2 baths too, so that's my plans.
My question is, are you planning on selling it after you,
No,
or are you gonna rent it out?
I would rent it out,
Okay.
yes.
do you envision doing any modifications for handicap accessibility for seniors?
You know, I haven't thought a lot about that, but I mean, I could, you know, obviously I believe it has 36-inch hallways, and I could do 36-inch doors. I mean, that would be easy enough to do. I don't know exactly what you have in mind as far, you know, but the one level I think would be appealing to that. But as far as, I mean, I build houses in Moberly. I'm a farmer, but I also build houses in Moberly. And I've done a few handicap houses there, and that's what they wanted, was the 36-inch doors going into bedrooms, 36-inch doors going into bathrooms and that kind of stuff. So, you know, I could definitely look into doing that.
Well, again, it's just a side issue, it's not totally relevant to approval,
Sure,
or disapproval, but
right.
I recommend you look into it.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it's a good point. We have a lot of folks retiring off farms and stuff and looking for places to be able to rent and be in town and sell property, that kind of thing, so.
Right.
Just something to think about. but-
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and you've redone some
I
properties in town?
I've done most of my properties in Moberly, but I've redid one on Reed Street, and I did one on Tidball, I did one on Maze Meadows. It's been a couple of years. I've been doing it in Moberly for the last 3 or 4 years. It's been probably 3, the last one I did was Maze Meadows, redid that one, and that's probably been.
Which one on Maze Meadows?
4 or 5 years ago now. What's that?
I've been gone long enough, which one on Maze Meadows?
Oh, man.
It's gray now. If
It's
you go,
gray.
you know when you go up in there and you make the first left,
Uh-huh.
where the Johnsons live,
It's the one on the corner.
brick,
there.
it's the one on the corner on the other end before you go around the curve. It's gray now.
Gray and white, yeah. Gray and white.
Well, yes, that's what you were familiar, we actually looked at that house.
Yes, yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah,
South side.
okay.
Yeah, it was well done, so, okay.
Yeah. But I've been building in Moberly for a while now too, so.
Right. Any other thoughts or questions or? Gentlemen?
I didn't receive any written comments. I had one spoken comment to me that Linda Borman said that she thought that this was spot zoning. So that was the only comment that I received.
Noted.
In any other way.
I received none, as the mayor did in my email. So usually when I start, I say when we got this, if I got anything from anybody in email, I have it, or any phone calls, relative to this, so. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Public comments are still open, if anybody else wants to make a statement. Okay. Well, that's no problem. You can have it, right? Just want to make sure, so, anyway, that being said, then no others, I will close the public hearing and comment from citizens on that part of it. Which moves us to B, the commission recommendation and discussion And then a recommendation to the board from there, that's where we're at.
I think along Jefferson Street, I don't see that gonna be spot zoning simply for the fact of it is, most of Jefferson is already a multi-use, properties down through there, alongside R1. So changing that from an R1 to an R2, considering there's also 3 or 4 duplexes in the same area, I think it'd be, it's not spot zoning. So changing it to an R2, I wouldn't see a problem with it.
The question I asked, are there duplexes back on Bradford behind it too as well?
Yes.
Far side of the street.
Okay, I just, yeah, that was curious. Somebody had said that and I didn't know if that was.
Can I give some history?
Sure.
Such as I remember it.
Sure.
There was a time before we started getting new subdivisions where people were really desperate to find lots they could build houses on. And people who eventually built on Bradford, those duplexes, came to P and Z and got a request for rezoning there. And both P and Z and the board, I believe, recommended basically rezoning the whole block, but that didn't go anywhere. There was some
There was
objections to that.
some discussion about that.
But the issue was left that the board was of the opinion that the character of the block was such that they didn't have any problem if it had to be done incrementally for people to do one lot at a time to rezone it up to R2. Now, they weren't ready to go to R3, but
No, sir.
they recognize that, particularly on a lot as big as this one. It is spot zoning.
I would agree with that.
But spot zoning's not illegal, it's just not a desirable practice when we have alternatives. We have lots of new subdivisions, most of them are not zoned for duplex or multifamily except for Mr. Harris's, and it's a little far out of the way. But there's no legal reason why you can't rezone.
Understood. Okay. Did you get anything, receive anything about any of did they talk to anybody in the neighborhood or anything?
We sent notices, I didn't receive any,
Okay.
I didn't receive any comments from the notices that we sent. I sent the same one to Bonnie, that went out to everybody.
Yeah, Rusty
Good.
said he had no problem with it at all because he's already got them on the north side.
The question I have for the board, just for my edification here, is the fourplex that was the Chance Apartments, it's south of there, of this location we're talking about, right? So
Yeah.
it was, I guess, has always been zoned R2 or
It's R1.
It's R1.
R1? Good. Because
It's
now-
not a fourplex, it's a guest house, and that was,
well, but that's changing, it's not a guest house anymore.
when did that happen?
Well, it's gonna be for rent, I mean,
Yeah.
it was bought by an individual and they're gonna turn that into a fourplex.
You might wanna look at that.
So, I knew it was grandfathered in as a guest house, as R1 probably.
That one plus the one across the street. The
Oh, the
two-story.
duplex, the two?
Yeah.
Yeah, I understood, okay. So, just asking the question for, it seems like it's been through there and behind there in that area, as Dale was saying, but, I'm not in here campaigning for anything, so I just want my education. I was asked about that down there by someone else, unrelated to anybody in this situation here, so just wanted my, thank you for that feedback, so.
Discussion with Sydney.
Yeah. So I'm gonna stay out of any recommendation at this point, actually. I'll leave the meeting, but your all's thoughts about a recommendation to the Board of Aldermen, which I will not be voting on.
I I make a motion that we go ahead and change that from R1 to R2.
One of the recommendations should be to recommend to the Board of Aldermen that they adopt an ordinance amending the zoning district from R1 to R2. And I would second it, or did you?
You said.
Okay, so I got that, yeah, so the motion to the Board of Aldermen, to go into R2. Mr. Mayor seconded it. So, all in favor? All opposed? Okay, that motion passes to make that recommendation to approve it for R2. And now, as may arise, anything for as may arise?
I do have a question. Where we stand at on setting up ordinances for the marijuana growing operations, distribution centers, local shops?
We had discussed it whenever all of that first started going on, and at the advice of our city attorney, she wanted to wait and kind of see what other cities were doing, so I think we need to revisit it.
I think that's a good point.
Because we do have now a growing, it's small, we do have a growing facility at the corner of Jefferson and Gano Chance now.
Jefferson and Gano Chance.
Yes, outside of Gano Chance, there, that little farm.
It's not in the city limits?
I don't know if that's city limits right there or not.
Well, once you go past Gano Chance, you're not in it.
No, this is sitting, it's, Jefferson goes here, Gano Chance goes here, it's sitting right here in the corner.
One house is on the south side.
Is it the city limits, the blue, is it blue, the blue house?
Oh, it's got a big acre job
Southeast
next.
corner.
Yeah, it's right out there, Jefferson Street.
I'm learning something.
There's Gano Chance.
I drive by there every day.
I want to drive
That
you
big
plumber.
acre.
I'm gonna drive you plumber.
It's in the county.
Is that in the county right there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this house is in the city, those two lots and that lot are in the county.
Okay.
Okay,
Unless things have changed.
Okay, so that's in the county.
it's a county, okay, but I think it's something that, I think it's a good valid point.
Yeah, I think we need to-
We're gonna have more of this go on.
Right.
As they start talking about legalizing it now from the next step, because we all know that it's medical, then goes to private consumption typically in most states, because of, I'm sure, the tax base.
Well, it'll be
Yes.
up on the ballot for this fall.
Oh, sure will be.
Or is it gonna be up on the primary ballot?
No, I think it's in the fall.
Too many
I'm not positive, but I think it's in the fall.
Too many tax dollars sitting out there for, to be.
But,
Okay.
but any marijuana growing operation there is probably
It
illegal.
really is.
Well, I know, but I mean, I think that's the impression of the state government would have more than us. I'm not saying it is for us.
We may wanna think about it, but I'm not sure jumping one way or another about regulations and control. We're gonna be chasing, something that's very vague, and the state's gonna come up with new, if that happens, the state will come up with new regulations, and we'd be reinventing the wheel a second time.
Yeah, I think this, we went to an MML meeting, and this is when they were taking the $10,000, you had an interest, a buy-in of $10,000, whether you got one of the permits or not, it was just forfeited, right? That's what
Sounds like a protection racket.
Right, but so when they talked about it, you know, there were the 4 different types of things that you could go into: testing, distribution, growing, all of that. Well, anyway, it was very, very interesting how they was formed out. And the states before, Missouri was kind of, had let them lead the way and kind of foolproofed it. So I think we would probably take our lead from the county, the state, probably down the county, and probably we would look at trying to align with that in some form or fashion. It's already been established other places that it's been successful, but we almost had to deal with it because we did have somebody that was gonna had a permit in and was gonna wanna put in a production facility, a growing production facility. And they were gonna build a suit and everything else. It was unbelievable, all the stuff with it, but we were almost had to deal with it at one point. But we probably should revisit it because it's coming to some
Right.
form of fashion.
You know, they,
Legality.
you know, you're right, it probably, the laws will change again once it's, you know.
But it'd be better to be
Recreational.
proactive. Yep,
Yeah, just trying to stay ahead of that.
agreed. So Heather, we'll leave that with you to kind of talk with Sydney and get an update maybe of what that looks like and what other towns that have it in. Mexico, I know has,
Yeah.
or maybe they don't. Maybe it's out there on the highway and it's not in town. I don't know.
No, it's in there.
Is it down on, toward when at Walmart?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know what the roads are on. Okay. So you might do some checking into them and see what they kind of got, how they have it, so.
Okay.
be good. All right. Any more as may arise? If not, that moves, I would accept a motion and a second to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
The first and a second to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That's one that usually
So
passes.
Bonnie,
I like
this goes